Right there! Where is it? In front! Oh! Oh!
The movie begins in the Republic of Moldova. During the conflict known as the Transnistria War, American forces join the fight. After a brutal attack, an American soldier becomes separated from his squad. He should wait for backup, but instead decides to clear a nearby building alone. Using hyperspectral imaging goggles, he discovers multiple corpses inside. Their conditions suggest they froze to death. As he advances deeper, the goggles reveal a translucent humanoid figure that vanishes from sight when the goggles are removed. The soldier's feed is transmitted directly to command, but before he can react, the entity passes through him, killing him instantly. Meanwhile, in the United States, Mark, a DARPA scientist, is completing his latest invention, a device that can shatter solid materials using sound waves. During a demonstration for senior officials, the machine performs successfully. The officials immediately push for human testing, seeing its potential as a weapon. Mark resists, but his superior reminds him that they work for the government, and their research must serve military interests. Soon after, the army instructs Mark to travel to Moldova. They want him to investigate problems reported with the hyperspectral goggles, technology he himself developed. Sometime later, Mark arrives at the American base in Chisinau. He meets General Orland and CIA officer Fran. Orland shows him the recording of the Spectre captured by the goggles before the soldier's death. Mark notices an anomaly in the footage moments before the Spectre appears. Orland explains that similar readings have been detected by security systems for the past 3 weeks. At first, they assumed it was interference, but after their best soldier was killed, they knew it was something else. The autopsy revealed that the soldier's internal organs were frozen while the skin was burned and corroded. In recent weeks, more bodies have been found in the same condition. Their Moldovan military allies deny knowledge of the events. At the sites, graffiti has appeared with the phrase genocide eritari, referring to a local myth about ghosts of war. The CIA suspects advanced cloaking technology, though this does not explain the deaths. Mark proposes using a hyperspectral camera he brought, a more advanced version of the goggles capable of deeper spectrum analysis. Orland authorizes him to join a Delta Force unit searching for a team that disappeared the previous day. Mark begins mounting the camera onto a military truck. Some soldiers mock him for working on their equipment, but Captain Cabrera, an old friend, reminds them that Mark's team designed the vehicles. Major Sessions objects to taking a civilian along and insists Mark's technology must prove reliable this time. Later, the team gathers for a mission briefing. Their objective is a 5-story apartment building where contact was lost with the missing unit. The area is controlled by insurgents, so they must prepare for combat. Their priority is to rescue survivors, but they are also ordered to neutralize the anomalies if encountered. Fran insists the anomalies are soldiers using advanced camouflage and prevents Mark from disputing her. She will accompany the mission, while Mark's role is to remain in the truck and monitor live feeds from the soldiers' helmet cameras. The team reaches the building without incident. The first rooms are empty, but deeper inside they find both American soldiers and insurgents, all dead under the same unusual conditions. Cabrera's sensors pick up movement, leading the team to a bathtub turned on its side. Inside, they discover Sergeant Comstock hiding. He reports that the rest of his squad is dead, their bodies located on the next floor. He also admits he saw something he believes was supernatural. On the next floor, the unit encounters one of the Spectres. A soldier fires directly at it, hitting every shot, but the rounds have no effect. The Spectre passes through him, killing him instantly. It then attacks the rest of the squad, who continue firing without results and begin taking casualties. Mark urges a retreat, while Fran insists they need more data. Mark argues there's nothing more to gain. The team switches to grenades, and Cabrera orders withdrawal. Survivors carry the wounded and rappel out a window, but the Spectre follows and kills more soldiers. Only a few make it back to the truck. The entity continues pursuit, allowing Mark to capture footage with the hyperspectral camera. The recording shows a humanoid form with a distinctly human face, leaving Mark unsettled. Cabrera confronts the Spectre directly but is killed, buying time for the last survivors to reach the vehicle and escape. As they drive away, Mark questions Comstock about what he saw. Comstock admits he hid for hours and witnessed the Spectre, but before he can elaborate, the truck enters a minefield. An explosion kills the drivers and throws Comstock against the cabin, fatally injuring him. Mark secures the hyperspectral camera, and the surviving soldiers flee into an abandoned factory for cover. Attempts to contact base fail due to poor radio signals. The unit begins to accept that the threat they are facing is not advanced technology, but something supernatural. Mark explains that the Spectre appeared humanoid and aware, though he still cannot identify what it is. The soldiers' goggles were destroyed in the crash, but Mark uses the hyperspectral camera to scan outside. The feed shows multiple Spectres surrounding the building, though they cannot enter. A circle of iron filings placed around the structure acts as a barrier, burning the Spectres when they attempt to cross. The team then hears movement from another room. They breach the door and find two civilians, siblings Sari and Bogdan. Neither speaks English, but Fran translates. They claim to be alone. Inside the room, the soldiers also find a transmission tower producing a strong signal. Using it will broadcast their location within 20 miles, but Sessions argues it is their only option for contacting the base. While the soldiers attempt communication, Mark questions the siblings with Fran's help. Sari reveals their father created the barrier. She believes the Spectres are trapped souls, unable to move on. Mark asks to see her father, so Sari takes him and Fran to a nearby room, leaving Bogdan with the soldiers. She admits privately that her father died while placing the barrier, and she dragged his body inside, though Bogdan still believes he is alive. Mark examines the corpse and finds a necklace with a ceramic tile and a map of Masarov, a district near the river. Sari explains that Masarov was where the Spectres first appeared. She does not know how her father discovered iron's effect on them. Later, the soldiers receive a message from base. Extraction will arrive at dawn with helicopters and tanks, meeting at an open plaza half a mile away. Some soldiers argue the location offers no cover, but Mark proposes a solution. The factory contains large amounts of iron filings, which can be used to make improvised explosives effective against the Spectres. He also modifies the hyperspectral camera into a searchlight capable of revealing Spectres in open areas. The modifications are transmitted to base so that reinforcements can replicate the device and then arrive safely. While the soldiers prepare, Sari finally tells Bogdan the truth about their father and gives him the necklace. Soon after, noises are heard outside. Using the modified searchlight, the team sees the Spectres climbing a nearby building and crossing the power lines to bypass the barrier. The group immediately prepares to evacuate. Sari leads them to a back exit, but the Spectres continue to pursue. Mark keeps the light on them, making the creatures visible, and the soldiers fire with iron-filled bullets. The weapons prove effective, though the recoil pushes some soldiers back. They also fire into the air, creating an iron dust cloud that slows the Spectres down. Following Sari's directions, the team reaches the open plaza and takes cover in an abandoned bus. Mark notices the searchlight battery running low, leaving them vulnerable. A noise outside raises concern, but it turns out to be the rescue tanks arriving, equipped with their own searchlights. When activated, they reveal Spectres hidden throughout the surrounding buildings, prompting heavy gunfire. The team rushes out of the bus to avoid falling debris, but this prevents them from relaying their findings to the reinforcements. The new soldiers engage the Spectres with standard weapons, which prove useless, leading to heavy casualties. The Spectres also attack the tanks, destroying their searchlights but failing to pass through ceramic armor, which Mark takes note of. Amid the chaos, Bogdan disappears. The team finds him searching for the necklace he dropped. Before Sari can reach him, a Spectre passes through him, killing him instantly. Mark confirms his death while Fran restrains Sari. The Spectres then gather in the plaza, preparing to strike. Just as the team is cornered, helicopters land. The rotor wash pushes the creatures back, and Mark smashes iron grenades on the ground, letting the wind spread the filings and hold off the Spectres long enough for everyone to escape. Once airborne, the group learns they are not returning to base. The base has been compromised and they are being taken to a refugee bunker instead. From the windows, the team sees specters spreading through the city and causing widespread destruction. At the bunker, guards immediately aim their weapons, but Fran identifies the group and convinces them to let the team inside. The soldiers secure the bunker while Mark and Fran take Sari to a doctor, as she was wounded by shrapnel during the escape. To distract her, Mark returns her father's necklace, recovered from Bogdan. He questions her about her father's knowledge of the specters, but she only explains that he made ceramic containers for the Masarov power plant, where the specters originated. A loud thump outside signals the arrival of Orland, who brings the survivors from the base along with salvaged equipment. He explains the base was attacked by invisible enemies, leaving only 19 survivors. The group had no time to call for reinforcements and now plans to fortify the bunker. Tension rises among the soldiers as some argue for action, while others want to wait. Mark interrupts, piecing the evidence together. Comstock survived under a ceramic tub. Specters could not penetrate the ceramic armor on tanks. They are harmed by iron, generate extreme cold, and can pass through walls but not ceramic. Mark concludes they are a form of Bose-Einstein condensate, a state of matter requiring massive energy, explaining their origin at the Masarov power plant. He identifies them as a weapon, meaning they can also be destroyed. Mark recalls his invention capable of striking with plasmic discharge and proposes building multiple units using the salvaged equipment and electronics in the bunker. Soldiers begin collecting parts, and Mark assembles as many weapons as possible. Among the recovered gear, they find a robotic unit nicknamed the Mechanical Rottweiler. They equip it with a searchlight and review a city map. With Fran gathering intelligence from locals, they plan the safest route to the power plant. After Orland rallies the group, they depart. At the plant, the Rottweiler illuminates the landing platform. The first squad tests Mark's weapons against incoming specters, and the devices prove effective. Once the first wave is eliminated, additional squads disembark and secure the remaining platforms. With the area contained, the helicopters advance and deploy Mark, Fran, and 2 guards inside the plant. As soon as the team enters, they are attacked by specters. The soldiers stay behind to fight while Mark and Fran move ahead to locate the lab. They reach an armored door, which Fran hacks to unlock, gaining access to the main laboratory. Inside, they find all the scientists dead. The lab contains X-rays showing humans scanned at a molecular level and a specialized 3D printer used to replicate them in condensate form. The full assembly line confirms the specters were manufactured as weapons. In another section, dozens of specters are locked inside containment cells, though many of the cells are broken, explaining the uncontrolled outbreak. A shutdown machine is present, but its instructions are filled with technical terms. Fran works to translate while Mark secures the area. Outside, soldiers report that the latest specters are reassembling themselves after being hit, making them increasingly difficult to destroy. Casualties begin to rise. Fran determines the shutdown process. All ports must be unlocked, and a bracket pulled to release the cables, which should neutralize the specters at once. Mark climbs onto the machine to execute the procedure while Fran covers him, shooting specters that escape their cells to stop him. Outside, a vortex of specter energy forms, forcing soldiers back. One soldier fires into the vortex just as Mark pulls the cables and bracket. The action triggers a powerful shock wave that knocks Mark from the machine and throws soldiers across the area. The specters begin to disintegrate simultaneously, their forms breaking apart until none remain. Fran checks on Mark, and while on a lower floor, they hear movement behind a hidden room. Inside, they discover capsules containing human brains and peripheral nervous systems. The scientists had not only scanned people, but used them as the control systems for the specters. The captives are still alive but not fully conscious, and Mark identifies that they are in pain. He begins disconnecting them to end their suffering. Fran argues against it, insisting they should focus on the larger mission. But Mark continues, saying this is part of it. With the specters eliminated, the American Army sends a team to extract the survivors and relocate them to a new base. A few days later, the soldiers are deployed again under orders to recover the machines from the power plant so they can be reverse engineered. Before departure, Mark says goodbye to Orland and Fran, Sari thanks him in English before he boards a plane back to the United States. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you're the first to know when we drop more videos like this. Thanks for watching.